Imagine being the laughingstock of your entire company just because of your country accent. At the annual corporate gala, a bullied employee named Mike is forced onto the stage by his toxic manager, set up to humiliate himself in front of the $3 billion founder. Sweating and nervous, Mike blurts out a thick, hometown country phrase. The entire ballroom erupts into cruel laughter. His bullies are having the time of their lives. But suddenly, clink. The billionaire female CEO slams her glass down. The room goes dead silent. She walks straight up to the stage, her eyes welling with tears, and asks a question that makes everyone's blood run cold. Does your mother have a red, leaf-shaped birthmark on her shoulder? Is she, my sister who was kidnapped 48 years ago? But to understand how this explosive moment happened, we have to rewind to just a few hours earlier at the banquet table. Maggie, can't you do something about that accent? Every time we have a meeting, you bring that hillbilly twang with you. Clients probably think we're some podunk operation out of West Virginia. Brad held his glass of bourbon, a smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. His voice carried, and people at nearby tables heard him. Some looked down and snickered, some pretended not to hear, and others chimed in. Seriously, Maggie, your country accent is pretty thick. Last time you were on a call with Mr. Henderson, the guy could barely understand a word you said. That came from Ashley, sitting next to Brad. She was wearing a brand new cocktail dress, makeup done to the nines, but her eyes kept drifting toward the head table. The executives sat at the head table. The center seat was empty. That seat was reserved for the big boss. Word was that tonight, at the company's annual gala, the founder herself would be making an appearance. A woman worth $3 billion. Maggie's fingers tightened around her glass until her knuckles went white. She took a deep breath and forced a smile. I'll work on it. Work on it? You've been here a year and you still haven't fixed it? Brad wasn't letting up. He'd been at the company 2 years longer than Maggie and was now a team lead in the department. He liked making Maggie the butt of his jokes. Maggie knew why. Because she was an easy target. Single mother, transplant from a small town in Kentucky, mom in poor health. No connections, no network, not even a 4-year degree from a name school. She'd gotten this job by sheer luck. So she took it. Took everything. I'm sorry, Brad. I'll be more careful. Maggie lowered her head, her voice muffled. Careful isn't enough. You gotta practice. Brad stood up and clapped Maggie on the shoulder. Hard. Maggie's body rocked from the impact. Tell you what. I'll give you a chance. When Ms. Vance gets here, you go up and give a toast. Use proper English, the clean kind. If you do it right, I'll lay off your accent from now on. The room went quiet for a few seconds. Then came the muffled laughter. Everyone knew Maggie stuttered when she got nervous. With that accent on top of it. Have her toast, Ms. Vance? That was setting her up to fail. Brad, that's not a good idea. Maggie's face went pale. What's wrong with it? I'm trying to help you out. Brad laughed harder. Or are you saying you don't have the guts? Maggie opened her mouth. Just then, the doors of the ballroom opened. A group of people swept in, surrounding a single woman. She looked to be in her mid-50s, dressed in a simple white pantsuit. Her hair was pulled back into a neat bun, not a strand out of place. Her face showed no expression, but when her eyes scanned the room, everyone instinctively sat up straighter. Eleanor Vance. Founder of Vance Holdings. $3 billion to her name. The actual controlling owner of this company. Good evening, Ms. Vance. Someone called out first. Then everyone in the ballroom stood up. The applause was thunderous. Eleanor nodded slightly and took her seat at the head table. She didn't speak, just waved her hand. Her assistant immediately signaled for everyone to sit down. The gala continued. But the atmosphere had completely shifted. Coworkers who'd been laughing and joking were now sitting up straight. Even Brad had wiped that smug grin off his face. Maggie let out a breath. Looked like the toast situation had blown over. But she relaxed too soon. After a few rounds of drinks, the MC on stage started up an interactive game. Drawing numbers. Whoever got picked had to come up and perform. Number 27. Who has number 27? The MC held up the mic. Maggie looked down at her number badge. Her heart sank. 1, that's me. She stood up, biting the bullet. Scattered applause around her. And some stifled laughter. All right, come on up. Maggie walked to the stage, her legs feeling unsteady. The spotlight hit her. She could see every face in the audience. Brad was laughing. Ashley was covering her mouth. Her manager, Mr. Foster, was frowning. And at the head table, Eleanor Vance was watching her quietly. Introduce yourself. The MC handed her the mic. I'm Maggie, from marketing. Looks like Maggie's a little nervous, folks. The MC was trying to lighten the mood. Tell you what, just do something. Sing a song, give a little speech, whatever works. Maggie's mind went blank. Sing? She couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. Speak? About what? She gripped the mic, her palms slick with sweat. The seconds dragged. People in the audience started murmuring. Come on, lady, don't waste everyone's time. Someone called out. In a panic, Maggie blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Y'all have a real blessed evening, now. Pure Kentucky drawl. Thick as molasses. The room went silent for 2 seconds. Then exploded into laughter. Ha ha ha. Blessed evening? What is this, a church social? That accent, oh my God. Maggie, are you doing stand-up? Brad was laughing the loudest. Ashley was doubled over. Even the MC couldn't keep a straight face. Maggie stood on the stage, her face burning red. She wanted the floor to swallow her whole. But just then, from the head table came a sharp clink. The sound of a glass being set down hard. Not loud. But everyone heard it. The laughter cut off instantly. Heads turned. Eleanor Vance was standing. She was looking at Maggie on the stage. Her expression was complicated. Shock, confusion, and something else that was hard to name. What did you just say? Eleanor spoke up. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. Maggie flinched. Ms. Vance, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I asked, what did you just say? Eleanor cut her off. She started walking toward the stage, one step at a time. The sound of her heels on the floor was sharp in the silent ballroom. Everyone held their breath. Maggie was finished. That was what everyone was thinking. Making a fool of herself in front of the big boss like that. She was lucky if she didn't get fired on the spot. Maggie thought the same thing. She closed her eyes and waited for the verdict. Eleanor walked up to her. Stopped. Say it again. Maggie opened her eyes and saw Eleanor's face. Up close. She could see the fine lines at the corners of her eyes, and an urgency in her gaze. Urgency? Why urgency? Y'all have a real blessed evening. Maggie repeated it mechanically. Her voice was shaking. Eleanor stared at her. For a full 10 seconds. Then she asked a question that left everyone in the room stunned. Where are you from? Huh? Where are you from? Cook, Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky. Be specific. Harlan County, little place called Black Hollow. Eleanor's breath visibly caught. She kept asking. Her voice was starting to tremble. Your mother. What's her name? Maggie was completely lost. What was happening? The big boss didn't care that she'd embarrassed herself, but she was asking about her hometown? About her mom? My mom, her name's Brenda. Brenda Walker. Brenda Walker. Eleanor repeated the name. Then she asked the question that froze the entire room. Your mother. Is her maiden name Vance? Maggie froze. No, no, her maiden name's Hadley. Was her real birth name Eleanor Vance? I mean, was she born as Brenda Vance? Eleanor took a step forward. Her hand came up, like she wanted to grab Maggie, but it stopped halfway in the air. On her left shoulder blade. Does she have a birthmark? Red, shaped like a leaf? Maggie was completely frozen. She stared at Eleanor, her mind in chaos. How do you know that? The moment those words came out, Eleanor swayed. Her assistant rushed forward to steady her. But Eleanor waved her off, signaling she was fine. Her eyes were red. Your mother. Is she 56 years old this year? Yes. Was she taken from West Virginia to Kentucky 48 years ago? When she was a little girl? Who are you? Maggie's voice was shaking now too. Eleanor looked at her. For a long time. Then she said, my name is Eleanor Vance. Your mother, she might be my older sister. The one I lost 48 years ago. Dead silence. The entire ballroom was deathly quiet. Every mouth was open. Every eye was wide. Like everyone had been struck by lightning. Brad's glass slipped from his hand. Whiskey soaked into his pants, but he didn't notice. Ashley looked like she'd seen a ghost. Mr. Foster's face went from white to green and back again. Maggie stood there. There was a ringing in her head. She opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. Eleanor took a deep breath. Tried to steady herself. Your mother. Where is she now? She's back home. Is she well? Not really. She has a chronic condition, has to take medication year-round. Eleanor's eyes turned redder. She turned to her assistant. Get a car. We're going now. Ms. Vance, now? It's 9 in the evening, and tomorrow you have, now. Eleanor's tone left no room for argument. Then she turned to Maggie. Her voice softened. Take me to see your mother. Please. Maggie nodded numbly. She still hadn't snapped out of her shock. Eleanor took her hand and started toward the door. She walked 2 steps, then stopped. Turned around. Looked at the dumbstruck employees in the audience. Her gaze stopped on Brad's face for a second. Brad shuddered. That guy. Eleanor spoke up. Her voice was calm, but there was ice in it. The one who was laughing the loudest just now. Is he in your department? She was asking Maggie. Maggie instinctively looked at Brad. The color drained from Brad's face. Tomorrow morning. I want to see his resignation letter on my desk. Eleanor said to her assistant. Then she pulled Maggie along and walked out without looking back. In the ballroom. Dead silence. Everyone was frozen in place. Brad collapsed back into his chair, his face ashen. Ashley was covering her mouth, eyes wide as saucers. Mr. Foster was wiping sweat from his forehead, his hands trembling. Nobody knew how long passed before someone spoke softly. I didn't mishear that, did I? Ms. Vance said. Maggie's mother is her sister? A sister she lost 48 years ago? My God. So Brad. Everyone looked at Brad. Their expressions were complicated. Sympathy, schadenfreude, fear. Brad jumped to his feet. That's impossible. There's no way. He was practically shouting. Maggie's just some hick. How could her mom be Ms. Vance's sister? It's a lie. It has to be. Nobody responded. They just looked at him silently. Like he was a clown. Mr. Foster walked over and patted his shoulder. Sighed. Brad, tomorrow, just write your own resignation. Save what dignity you can. Mr. Foster. Ms. Vance said it herself. Mr. Foster cut him off. Do you think she'd joke about something like that? Brad opened his mouth. No words came out. He sank into his chair, his eyes empty. It was over. Everything was over. Meanwhile, at the hotel entrance, a black Cadillac was already waiting outside. Eleanor pulled Maggie into the back seat. The car started and pulled into the night. It was quiet inside the car. Maggie sat next to Eleanor, completely uncomfortable. She had so many questions. But she didn't know where to start. Eleanor seemed to sense her unease. She spoke softly. Did I scare you? A little. I'm sorry. I got too caught up. Eleanor's voice was hoarse. 48 years. I've been looking for her for 48 years. She turned to look out the window. The city lights flickered across her face. My sister and we got separated back home in West Virginia. I was 8 that year. She was 10. My family was poor. We didn't have enough to eat. Some people came through the holler, said they could take us to the city. Said we'd have plenty to eat, get to go to school. My folks believed them. Let her go with them. We didn't find out until later that they were traffickers. She was taken from West Virginia to Kentucky. Sold to a family. Married off as a child bride to their son. By the time I grew up and started looking, I couldn't find her. Eleanor's voice was choked. I just remembered. She had a birthmark on her left shoulder blade. Red. Shaped like a leaf. Her nickname was Bree. She told me, when she had kids someday, she'd name a daughter Margaret, because Margaret means pearl. Maggie's breath caught. Margaret. Maggie. Her name. Her mother had always called her Margaret, never Maggie. From the time she was little. You really are. My name is Eleanor Vance. Her name was Brenda Vance. Our father's name was Robert Vance. Our mother's name was Mary. Our home was in McDowell County, West Virginia. There was an old oak tree at the edge of the holler. The day she was taken, she was wearing a blue dress with white flowers, black canvas shoes, with a little red flower stitched on the toes. Eleanor said it word by word. With each detail, Maggie's heart sank further. It all matched. Her mother had told her these things. All of them. Pull over. Eleanor said suddenly. The driver pulled to the shoulder. She turned to Maggie. I know this is too sudden for you. You might not be able to accept it right away. But, can you let me see her? Just once. I've been looking for her for 48 years. I'm 56 now. I don't have many years left. I just want to see her one more time. This woman worth $3 billion. This powerhouse. She was crying like a child. Maggie's eyes stung. She nodded. My mom, she's at the county hospital back home. Her lungs aren't good. She's been admitted for a week now. Eleanor froze. In the hospital? What's wrong? Same as always. COPD. Doctor says she needs surgery, but it's gonna run somewhere north of $100,000. I don't have that kind of money. We've been doing what we can with conservative treatment. Eleanor's expression changed instantly. Drive. Get us to Harlan County. Now. Move. She barked at the driver. Then she pulled out her phone and started making calls. Dr. Patterson? It's Eleanor Vance. I need you to get me the best pulmonologist at University Hospital. Now. Right now. Yes, transfer. I'll send you her information shortly. Best private room, best doctors. Money's not an issue. And get a medical transport to the Harlan County Hospital. Full ICU rig, professional team. I'm heading there now. I'll be there in about an hour and a half. She hung up. Dialed another number. Diane, cancel everything for the next week. Yes, all of it. Family emergency. Keep an eye on the office. Hold any major decisions until I'm back. Handle the small stuff yourself. Also, pull the file on a Brad Sullivan in marketing. Before tomorrow morning, I want everything. His performance over the past year, his relationships at work, any compliance issues. All of it. A string of orders. Crisp. Decisive. The ruthless executive was back. Maggie sat next to her, listening, her heart pounding. So this was how rich people operated? One phone call and everything was set in motion. Eleanor put down the phone and looked at Maggie. Her eyes softened. Don't worry. Your mother will get the best treatment. Don't think about money. Ms. Vance, I can't possibly. Call me Aunt Eleanor. She cut her off. If you can stand the idea. Maggie opened her mouth. The word aunt stuck in her throat. She couldn't get it out. It was too sudden. Way too sudden. A few hours ago, she was an office nobody being mocked by her coworkers. Now she was the niece of a billionaire. You couldn't make this up. Take your time. Eleanor saw her discomfort. There's no rush. Let's go see your mother first. The car flew down the highway. The scenery rushed past the windows. Maggie stared out the window, her thoughts a mess. She thought about her mom. That small, frail woman who was always coughing. She'd never had a good day in her life. Sold to Kentucky as a child, married off to a family that beat her. When that family's son got sick and died, they kicked her out. She met Maggie's father. A simple, hard-working man from a coal mining family. They got married. Had Maggie. But they didn't get many good years. Maggie's father died in a mining accident. Her mom raised her alone. She picked aluminum cans, ran a yard sale stand, did laundry for other families, worked in diner kitchens. Every kind of work you could imagine. She finally got her through community college. She found a job. Then she got sick. COPD. Incurable. Just managed. But managing it cost money. Medication couldn't lapse. Regular checkups. Hospital stays. Maggie's paycheck barely covered their living expenses. She couldn't save anything. This hospital stay was because she'd coughed up blood, couldn't tough it out anymore. The hospital bill was money she'd borrowed from a cousin. $3,000. To be paid back next month. Maggie couldn't think about how she'd pay it back. She hadn't even paid this month's rent yet. Thinking about it, her eyes started to water. She quickly looked down, pretending to check her phone. There was a text from her mom. Margaret, did you eat? Don't try to save money, eat what you need. Mom's doing better, don't worry. There was a photo attached. Her mom in the hospital bed, pale, but smiling at the camera. Maggie's tears almost came. She took a deep breath and texted back. Yeah, I ate. Get some rest, Mom. I'll come see you tomorrow. Don't keep coming back and forth, gas costs too much. Mom's fine, really. Okay, I'll listen to you. She sent it and put the phone away. She was afraid if she kept texting, she'd start crying. Your mother, she's had a hard life, hasn't she? Eleanor asked suddenly. Maggie nodded. Yeah. Dad died young. She raised me alone. Did every kind of work you can think of. A few years back she got the lung disease. Couldn't do hard labor anymore. So she takes piecework at home. Assembling stuff, sewing, that kind of thing. Makes maybe $10-15 a day. Eleanor's tears spilled over again. She turned to look out the window. Her shoulders trembled. The car fell silent again. Just the hum of the engine. An hour and a half later. The car pulled into Harlan County. The county hospital was small. Just a 5-story building. A few beat-up cars in the lot. Eleanor's car drew plenty of looks. A black Cadillac Escalade. Not common in a small Appalachian town. Maggie got out first and led the way. Eleanor followed. Her assistant and the driver brought up the rear. Inpatient ward was on the third floor. The hallway was narrow. The lighting was dim. The smell of disinfectant hung in the air. Maggie stopped at room 306. This one. She pushed the door open. 3 hospital beds. In the bed by the window lay a small, thin woman. Sleeping. Her face was sallow. Her breathing was labored. Eleanor stood in the doorway, looking at the woman. For a long time. Then she walked in. One step at a time. To the side of the bed. She bent down. Studied the woman's face. Tears rolled down her cheeks in big drops. She reached out a trembling hand, wanting to touch the woman's face, but didn't dare. Afraid this was a dream that would shatter at her touch. Maggie stood beside her, her throat tight. She spoke softly. Mom, wake up. The woman in the bed stirred and slowly opened her eyes. Margaret? What are you doing here? I told you not to come, gas is so expensive. Her words stopped short. Because she'd seen Eleanor standing by the bed. Their eyes met. Time seemed to stop. Brenda looked at Eleanor. For a long time. Her lips started to tremble. You're. Eleanor dropped to her knees beside the bed. Took her hand. Bree, it's me. Ellie, your sister Ellie, do you remember me? Your little sister. Brenda's whole body went rigid. She stared at Eleanor. For a full minute. Then the tears came. Ellie, is it really you? Are you alive? I'm alive, Bree. I'm alive. I looked for you for so long. The sisters held each other and sobbed. 48 years apart. 48 years of longing. It all came pouring out in that moment. Maggie stood there, eyes red. The other patient and her family in the room were dumbfounded. They had no idea what was happening. They cried for a long time. Eleanor finally calmed down a little. She held her sister's hand and wouldn't let go. Bree, you've been through hell. I'm sorry. I came too late. Not too late, seeing you again, I can die happy. Don't talk like that. You're not going to die. I won't let you. Eleanor turned to her assistant. Get the medical transport team up here. Prep her for transfer. Tell University Hospital to have the OR ready. We're operating tonight. Yes, ma'am. Her assistant hurried out to make calls. Brenda was lost. Surgery? What surgery? I'm fine, just my old condition, a few more days and I'll be fine. Bree, don't worry about it. Listen to me. Eleanor's voice left no room for argument. Your condition has to be treated. Best doctors. Best medicine. Don't think about the money. I'm here. You don't have to be afraid of anything anymore. Brenda looked at her sister, the tears coming again. Ellie, you've done well for yourself? Yes, I've done well. I have a company. I have money. Bree, from now on, I'll take care of you. Take care of Margaret. We're never going to be apart again. Just then, the medical team arrived. A professional crew with proper equipment. After a quick assessment, they started the transfer. Brenda was in a daze as they loaded her onto the gurney. This is going to cost a fortune. Bree, money isn't important. You are. Eleanor held her hand the whole way. Down the elevator. Into the ambulance. Sirens wailing, headed for the city. Eleanor's car followed behind. In the car, Maggie finally couldn't hold back. Aunt Eleanor, how did you know? Just from that one phrase? Eleanor wiped her eyes. That phrase, y'all have a blessed evening. That's how we used to say it back home. I haven't heard it said that way in years. The minute you said it, I recognized it. Then I asked where you were from, and you said Harlan County. That made me more sure. Because the trail I'd followed, my sister was sold somewhere in eastern Kentucky. But your mother's last name was wrong. My sister was Brenda Vance. Yours was Walker. So I thought maybe I was wrong. Until you said your mother had a birthmark on her left shoulder blade. She paused. That birthmark, I remember it clearly. When I was little, I used to fall asleep with my hand on it. My sister told me it was a leaf. A spring leaf. She said when spring came and the leaves turned green, we'd have enough to eat. Eleanor's voice broke again. 48 years. I searched for 48 years. I went to so many places, asked so many people, everyone told me, give it up, she's gone, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe my sister was dead. I knew she was somewhere, waiting for me. Maggie's eyes were wet too. She could imagine what those 48 years had been like for Eleanor. From an 8-year-old girl to a billionaire CEO. How much hardship, how much struggle had she been through? And the whole time, she'd kept her lost sister in her heart. Aunt Eleanor, thank you. Maggie said quietly. Don't thank me. I should be thanking you. Thank you for your mother still being alive. Thank God I found her. Eleanor looked at her. Margaret, from now on, you're not alone. You have me. No one's going to bully you again. Maggie nodded firmly. The car flew down the highway. The ambulance led the way. Eleanor's phone kept ringing. She answered a few. All work. Quick conversations and hang-ups. Then she started telling Maggie about her family. I married late. 40 before I had a daughter. She's 2 years younger than you, studying abroad. Your uncle, he passed 5 years ago. Car accident. Not many of us left. Just me and your cousin. Now there's you and your mother. We're a family again. When your mother's better, you two are moving in with me. The house is big, plenty of room. If you want to work, come to my company. If you don't want to work, just live. I can support both of you. Maggie shook her head quickly. No. I want to work. I can earn my own way. Eleanor smiled. Good. That's the spirit. So what do you want to do? Go back to your old company? Maggie fell silent. Did she want to go back? No. Brad was there. Ashley was there. Mr. Foster was there. A whole bunch of people who'd looked down on her. But I have to go back. I need to wrap up my work properly, and pack up my things. And I can't just leave like that. Eleanor looked at her. You want revenge? Maggie shook her head. Not revenge. I just want to see what their faces look like when they find out who I am. Eleanor laughed. Good. I'll go with you. I want to see who's been bullying my niece. When the car reached University Hospital, it was already past 1 a.m. The hospital director was at the entrance with a team. Specialists. Nurses. Equipment. All standing by. Brenda was wheeled straight into surgery. The surgery went smoothly. 3 hours later, the lead surgeon came out and said the surgery was a success. The patient was stable. A few days of observation and they could move her to a regular room. Eleanor finally let out a breath. She had her assistant arrange for Maggie to get some rest. She kept watch outside the room herself. Maggie couldn't sleep. She sat on a bench outside the room, her mind running through the day's events like a movie reel. This day had been completely surreal. Surreal in a way that didn't feel real. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. Maggie, are you okay? We all saw what happened. Brad was way out of line. Don't take it to heart. Maggie looked at the message and laughed. Ashley. One of the people who'd laughed at her alongside Brad. One of her worst tormentors. Now she was checking on her. Why? Because she had a billionaire aunt. People were really something. Maggie didn't reply. A while later, another message. From Mr. Foster. Maggie, what happened tonight was a misunderstanding. The company is going to deal with Brad. Take care of your mother. Don't worry about work. You're on paid leave. Come back whenever you're ready. Paid leave. Before, when Maggie had a fever and asked for half a day off, they docked her pay. Now, paid leave. Maggie still didn't reply. Then her phone rang. It was Brad. Maggie thought about it, then picked up. Maggie. Maggie, I messed up. I really messed up. Brad's voice came through, on the verge of tears. I shouldn't have made fun of you, shouldn't have bullied you. I'm a piece of garbage. I'm not even a person. Forgive me, just this once, please? I can't lose this job. I have a mortgage. I have a kid, if I get fired, I'm done. Maggie listened quietly. When Brad finished, she spoke. Brad, do you remember last year's gala? I said something wrong because I was nervous. You spent the whole next day at the office mocking my accent. The whole company laughed at me. Do you remember last month, I put together a proposal? You changed the name on it and submitted it as your own to Mr. Foster. Mr. Foster praised you, and then you turned around and called my work garbage. Do you remember last week, you told me to grab you a coffee? I said I was busy. You said a country girl like you, what could you be busy with, and threw the file I'd been working on the floor and made me redo it. Maggie's voice was calm. Do you remember any of that? On the other end, Brad was silent. Maggie, I was just kidding around, don't take it so seriously. Kidding around? Maggie laughed. Then let me kid around with you. Tomorrow, you submit your own resignation. Save what dignity you can. She hung up. Blocked the number. It was the first time she'd ever told Brad no. It felt good. Just before dawn, Eleanor came out of the room. Your mother's awake. She wants to see you. Maggie hurried in. In the room, Brenda was lying in the hospital bed. Her color was much better. Seeing Maggie, she smiled. Margaret, come here. Maggie walked over and took her hand. How are you feeling, Mom? Much better. It feels like a dream. Brenda looked up at the ceiling. I never thought I'd see Ellie again in this life. I thought she was long gone. Aunt Eleanor's been looking for you. For 48 years. I know, she told me. Brenda's tears came again. She's been through so much, building all this on her own, it can't have been easy. Mom, don't get worked up. The doctor says you need to rest. Yeah, Mom knows. Brenda wiped her tears. Margaret, your aunt says she wants you to work at her company. What do you think? I want to go back and wrap things up properly. I can't just walk away. I have to finish what I started. Good. Mom supports that. Brenda squeezed her daughter's hand. But Margaret, listen to your mother. We're poor, but we don't beg. Aunt Ellie has money, but that's her money. We can't depend on her for everything. What you can earn yourself, you earn yourself. You hear me? I hear you, Mom. Don't worry. Maggie nodded. She understood. Her mother was poor, but she had her pride. That was why she'd rather pick cans than ask anyone for help. Outside the door, Eleanor heard the conversation. Her eyes welled up again. Her sister was still the same. Tough. Proud. She'd never bend, even in poverty. She wiped her eyes and pushed open the door. Bree, Margaret, it's morning. You too hungry? I'll get something to eat. I'm not hungry, Ellie. You haven't slept all night. Go rest. Maggie spoke up quickly. I'm fine. You, on the other hand, you need to go back to the office today, right? My driver will take you. No need. I can take an Uber. Absolutely not. You're Eleanor Vance's niece now. We're not having that. Eleanor wasn't taking no for an answer. Maggie couldn't argue. She gave in. After breakfast, Eleanor's driver took Maggie back to the city. In the car, Eleanor handed Maggie a card. There's some money on this. Use it for now. Get your mother some good food and supplements. Buy yourself some new clothes. Tell me if you need more. Aunt Eleanor, I can't take this. Take it. It's an aunt's gift to her niece. You can't refuse. Eleanor's tone didn't allow refusal. Maggie took it. Thank you, Aunt Eleanor. Good girl. She patted her head. Her eyes were warm. The car stopped in front of her office building. Maggie got out and looked up at the 30-story tower. Took a deep breath. Walked in. The receptionist saw her and froze, then quickly stood up. Maggie, you're back. Her tone was careful. Almost ingratiating. Maggie nodded but didn't say anything. She went straight to the elevators. In the elevator, a few coworkers saw her and froze. Maggie? Aren't you? I'm here to clean out my desk. Maggie said flatly. Oh. They didn't say anything else. The elevator doors opened. Maggie stepped out. Marketing was on the 18th floor. She walked to her desk and started packing. It was quiet around her. Everyone was watching, but no one dared speak. Brad's desk was empty. Ashley was hunched over, pretending to be busy. Mr. Foster came out of his office, saw Maggie, and hurried over. Maggie, you're here. Listen, about last night, that was a misunderstanding. The company has decided to terminate Brad. As for you, just keep up the good work. Marketing still needs you, Mr. Foster, I'm here to resign. Maggie cut him off. Resign? Why? Is it because of Brad? Don't worry, he's not coming back, it's not because of him. Maggie looked up at him. It's my decision. Mr. Foster's expression shifted. Maggie, don't be hasty. The company has been good to you. Mr. Foster, I remember in my year here, I worked over 300 hours of overtime. Not once did I get overtime pay. Last month, the project I led, the bonus was $3,000. You gave me $500. You said the rest was for department activities. But I only attended one department activity. A team dinner that cost $50 a head. Maggie's voice wasn't loud. But the whole department could hear it. Everyone's ears perked up. Mr. Foster's face cycled through red and white. Maggie, what you're saying, bonus distribution has rules. The rules are, project bonuses, lead gets 70%. Contributors split 30%. That project, from concept to execution, was all me. You just signed off on it. By the rules, I should have gotten $2,100. You gave me $500. Maggie looked at him. Mr. Foster's face went pale. He opened his mouth to say something but couldn't get a word out. The whole office was eerily silent. Everyone had their heads down, pretending to be busy, but their ears were straining. And last year, the year-end bonus the company gave out. Mine was $3,000, right? Maggie continued, her tone calm as if she were talking about someone else. But I happened to see HR spreadsheet. My year-end bonus was supposed to be $5,000. Where did the other two go? Sweat started beading on Mr. Foster's forehead. Maggie, there's a misunderstanding. I can explain. Don't bother. Maggie shook her head and put the last few books in a box. I came here today to resign and pick up what's mine. The rest doesn't matter. She picked up the box and turned to leave. Wait. Mr. Foster grabbed her arm. Maggie, hold on. Let's talk this through. Look, you've been here a year, you have experience. How about this, I'll move you to the executive office. Double your salary. What do you say? Executive office? Maggie laughed. Mr. Foster, do you really think I need this job? Mr. Foster froze. Right. Maggie was Eleanor Vance's niece now. A niece of Vance Holdings. Forget the executive office. She could be a VP if she wanted. It would take one word from Eleanor. I didn't mean it that way. Mr. Foster was stammering. Just then, the office door opened. Eleanor walked in. She wasn't in last night's pantsuit. She was wearing a cream-colored casual outfit. But her presence was just as commanding. The moment she walked in, everyone stood up. Ms. Vance. Good morning, Ms. Vance. Eleanor ignored them and walked straight to Maggie. All packed up? Yeah. Then let's go. Your mother's awake. She's asking for you. Eleanor took the box from Maggie's hands and handed it to her assistant. Then she turned to Mr. Foster. You're Mr. Foster? Yes, Ms. Vance. I'm Steve Foster, marketing manager. Mr. Foster was practically bowing. Maggie's direct supervisor? Yes, but Ms. Vance, please let me explain. About Maggie. No need to explain. Eleanor cut him off. I was at the door. I heard everything. The color drained from Mr. Foster's face. Ms. Vance, You're fired. Eleanor's voice was even. Go to HR for your final pay. You're done today. Also, the $2,000 bonus shortfall and the overtime pay Maggie mentioned, transfer it to her account within 3 days. Short by a penny and my lawyer will be in touch. Ms. Vance. Ms. Vance, you can't do this. I've been here 8 years, even if I haven't earned credit, I've put in the work. Credit? Eleanor laughed. Squeezing your subordinates, skimming their bonuses, that counts as putting in the work? She looked around the office. Her eyes swept over every person. Those who'd mocked Maggie before all looked down, unable to meet her eyes. And you all. Eleanor spoke up. Maggie was here for a year. You all know how you treated her. I'm not going to pursue it. Not because I'm magnanimous. Because Maggie said let it go. But she can let it go. I won't. Effective today, everyone in marketing gets their year-end bonus cut in half. Promotion slots for this year are cancelled across the board. The office went dead silent. Some people opened their mouths to protest, but seeing the look in Eleanor's eyes, swallowed their words. Eleanor didn't look at them again. She took Maggie's arm and walked toward the door. At the door, she stopped. Turned around. Oh, one more thing. Maggie will be taking over a subsidiary of Vance Holdings as CEO. From now on, when you see her, you address her as Ms. Walker. She pushed open the door, and they left together. The entire office stood there, stunned. In the elevator. Maggie looked at Eleanor. Aunt Eleanor, you didn't have to. Didn't have to what? Not fire him? Not cut their bonuses? She looked at her. Margaret, let me teach you something. Nice guys finish last. The more you back down, the more they think you're an easy target. But I can't. You can't. I can. She patted her shoulder. I've lived 56 years. I've seen every kind of person there is. With people like that, you have to scare them straight the first time. Otherwise they'll think you're a pushover and keep coming after you. Maggie was quiet for a moment, then nodded. I understand. Good. Let's go see your mother. She's in much better spirits today. She's been asking for you. The car drove toward the hospital. On the way, Eleanor handed Maggie a folder. What's this? Information on the subsidiary. Take a look. If you're interested, give it a shot. If not, I'll just take care of you. Maggie opened the folder. Inside was information on a media and creative agency. Not big. About 120 employees. Mainly advertising design and event planning. Performance had been bad for the past 2 years. Losing money. I bought this company 3 years ago. I wanted their creative team, but the management was a mess and they never turned it around. Eleanor said. If you want, give it a try. If you lose money, no big deal. Consider it practice. If you turn a profit, that's your skill showing. Maggie turned the pages, her stomach churning. She'd just been a regular employee. She'd never managed people, let alone a whole company. Aunt Eleanor, I'm worried I won't be able to do it. Worried about what? Everyone has to start somewhere. She looked at her. Margaret, I can tell, you're a kid with ideas. You just never had the opportunity, never had the platform. Now the opportunity is here, the platform is here. The question is whether you have the guts to take it. Maggie looked at the folder in her hands. A montage flashed through her mind. Brad mocking her. Mr. Foster cutting her bonus. Her coworkers freezing her out. She clenched her fist. I'll take it. Eleanor smiled. Good. That's my niece. The car arrived at the hospital. Brenda had been moved to a VIP suite. A spacious private room with a sofa, TV, and private bathroom. Flowers on the windowsill. Brenda was sitting up in bed, looking out the window. When she saw Maggie and Eleanor come in, she smiled. You're back? Yeah. How are you feeling, Mom? Much better. The doctors and nurses here are wonderful. The medicine is good too. I feel a lot better after taking it. Brenda took Eleanor's hand. Ellie, this must have cost you a fortune. This room, it has to be a lot per day, doesn't it? Bree, what are you talking about? Money is nothing. You getting better is everything. Eleanor sat on the edge of the bed. Doctor says a few more days of observation and you can go home. Then you're moving in with me. My house is big, plenty of room. You'll be comfortable, and I can take care of you. That's too much trouble for you. What trouble? You're my sister. Taking care of you is what family does. The sisters chatted while Maggie sat to the side, peeling an apple. Sunlight streamed in through the window. Warm. It was the kind of warmth Maggie hadn't felt in years. Over the next few days, Maggie stayed at the hospital with her mother. Eleanor came every day, bringing all kinds of supplements. Sometimes she'd push Brenda in a wheelchair around the hospital garden. The sisters had so much to talk about. Memories from childhood. What had happened in the years apart? When they got emotional, both of them would cry. When something funny came up, they'd laugh like kids. Maggie watched, her heart warm. So this was what having family felt like. That weekend, Brenda was discharged. Eleanor took her straight to her own house. A 3-story home with a yard and a pool. Brenda stood in the doorway, afraid to go inside. Ellie, this is too much. It's not too much. Just us few people, the house is empty as it is. Eleanor pulled her inside. First floor's the living room, dining room, and kitchen. Your room is upstairs, southern exposure, with its own bathroom. Margaret's room is right next to yours. I'm on the 3rd floor. This must have cost a fortune. Bree, stop worrying about money. Just settle in. Once her mother was settled, Eleanor took Maggie to the company. The media agency was called Vance Creative, named after Eleanor. The office was an entire floor of a downtown office building. When Eleanor walked Maggie in, every employee stood up. Good morning, Ms. Vance. This is Margaret Walker, your new CEO. Effective today, all company matters go through her. Eleanor introduced her quickly. Then she turned to Maggie. It's all yours now. Call me if anything comes up. And she left. Leaving Maggie facing 120 unfamiliar faces. Everyone was watching her. Their expressions ranged from curious to skeptical to dismissive. Maggie took a deep breath and stepped forward. Hi everyone. I'm Margaret Walker. Starting today, I'll be running the company. I'm new, there's a lot I don't know yet, so I'm hoping you'll all help me get up to speed. Pleasantries done. Conference room. The company's senior management was there. Vice President Larry Chen, CFO Diana Rhodes, Creative Director Mark Bell, Operations Director Linda Park. All four were older than Maggie. The way they looked at her, sizing her up. "Ms. Walker, welcome aboard." Larry spoke first, smiling, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'm Larry Chen, VP. Looking forward to working with you." "Likewise." Maggie nodded. "Ms. Walker, here are the company's financial reports for the last 3 years." Diana passed over a stack of files. "And the project list for this year, plus the status of ongoing projects." Mark added another stack. "And the client list, plus pending opportunities." Linda added a third. Maggie looked at the 3 thick stacks of files in front of her. She understood. This was a test. They wanted to see how this parachuted-in CEO measured up. "All right. I'll take a look. You all go ahead and get back to work. I'll find you if I need anything," Maggie said calmly. Once everyone left, she started reading. The financial reports were a mess. Income and expenses were unclear. The books were a tangle. Most of the projects on the list were losing money. The client list had few high-value clients. Maggie spent the whole afternoon on it. Her head was spinning. This company was in worse shape than she'd thought. Just before close of business, Larry knocked on the door. "Ms. Walker, how's it going? Make sense of it all?" There was a hint of mockery in his tone. "Mostly. The biggest issues are no stable revenue stream, disorganized management, and low morale." Maggie closed the file and looked at him. "Any suggestions, Larry?" Larry froze. He'd expected Maggie to be lost, to come asking him questions. He hadn't expected Maggie to nail the issues immediately. "Well, I'd say it's mostly the market. Advertising is super competitive right now. Small shops are struggling. The market is the external factor. The internal factor is, the company has no core value proposition." Maggie stood up and walked to the window. "I looked at the work from the past 2 years. Most of it is derivative. Imitation. No original creative. Why would clients choose us over anyone else?" "Ms. Walker, you can't really say that. Creative work costs money. The company doesn't have it. Lack of money is not an excuse." Maggie turned to face him. "Effective tomorrow, the company is implementing a new performance system. Performance-based pay. Top performers earn more. Those who can't deliver either take a pay cut or leave." Larry's expression changed. "Ms. Walker, that's pretty aggressive. The team's going to push back. Anyone who pushes back can come talk to me. But the system is going into effect." Maggie's tone left no room for argument. "Also, starting tomorrow, every employee submits a daily work report at end of day. I want to know what each person is doing and what they're getting done." Won't that be a lot of overhead? "Anyone who finds it too much trouble is welcome to resign." Larry didn't say anything else. He looked at Maggie, his expression complicated. This woman was harder than he'd expected. "Anything else?" Maggie asked. "No, nothing else." "Then go let people know. I'll announce it formally in the morning meeting." Larry left. Maggie sat back down and rubbed her temples. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be smooth. But she had to do this. This company was the chance Eleanor had given her. She couldn't let her down. Couldn't let herself down. The next morning's meeting. Maggie announced the new system. The conference room buzzed. Daily reports? Whose idea was this? Performance-based pay? Easy to say, hard to do. Underperform and you take a pay cut? You're trying to push people out. Yeah, given the state of the company, what kind of results are we supposed to deliver? The grumbling went back and forth. Maggie listened calmly. When the noise died down, she spoke. "I know there are objections. But let me ask you something. The company has been losing money for 2 years straight. If we keep losing, what happens? No one spoke. What happens is, the company shuts down and everyone loses their job. Maggie looked at them. The new system is tough, but it gives the company a chance to survive. And it gives all of you a chance to make money. Top performers get their salaries doubled, with bonuses on top. Underperformers either step up or move on. It's that simple. Ms. Walker, easy for you to say. Creative work isn't an assembly line. You can't just produce on demand. Creative director Mark spoke up. I know. So I'll give you a month. For 1 month, I don't care about process, just results. Whoever delivers creative that wins clients over is a hero. Bonuses start at 10,000. 10,000? The conference room stirred. Also, starting today, the company doesn't compete on price. We compete on creative. Anyone with a good idea can come straight to me. Get it approved, the project is yours, and your commission doubles. Maggie kept going. And starting today, we're setting up an innovation fund. Anyone with a good idea can apply for funding. If it fails, no penalty. If it succeeds, profits split 50-50. The room exploded. No penalty for failure? Profits split 50-50? Those were incredible terms. Ms. Walker, are you serious? Someone asked. It's going in writing. Formal policy this afternoon. Maggie was emphatic. Then I'm in. Me too. Count me in. The atmosphere shifted in an instant. Maggie looked at them. She let out a small breath. When the rewards are big enough, you find brave people. That was what she'd been counting on. Meeting over. Maggie went back to her office and started on the files. At lunch, Eleanor called. How's it going? Smooth? So far so good. Announced the new system, got a decent reaction. Good. Remember, running a company, balance carrot and stick. The stick alone doesn't work. You need the carrot too. When it's time to pay, don't be cheap. Got it, Aunt Eleanor. Your mother was in great spirits today. Took a walk in the garden this morning. Doctor says she's recovering even better than expected. That's great. Maggie's heart warmed. Oh, dinner at home tonight. The housekeeper made your favorite, pot roast. Great. She hung up and went back to work. That afternoon, sure enough, someone came knocking. A young guy with glasses, named Tony Reyes. Less than a year in, an intern in the design department. Ms. Walker, I have an idea. Tony was nervous, stumbling over his words. Don't be nervous. Take your time. Maggie poured him a glass of water. Tony took a sip and steadied himself. So, here's the thing. I noticed a lot of small businesses want advertising but can't afford a big agency. Our company could build a platform that breaks ad services into modules. Let businesses mix and match. Like building blocks. Simple, affordable, and we still guarantee quality. Maggie listened intently. Tony talked for 10 minutes. The longer he talked, the more confident he got. There was a light in his eyes. How long have you been thinking about this? Maggie asked. 6 months. I mentioned it to Mark, but he said it wasn't realistic. Told me to stop daydreaming. I think it's plenty realistic. Maggie interrupted. I'll give you $10,000. 1 month. Build me a demo. Whatever resources you need, come to me. Make it work, you run the project. 20% equity in it for you. Tony froze. 20%? Too little? No, no, no. It's too much. Ms. Walker, I. Tony was so excited he couldn't talk. Get to it. Do good work. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Walker. I won't let you down. Tony bowed and ran out. Maggie smiled and went back to her files. Over the next several days, more people came. Some with creative ideas. Some with problems. Maggie listened to all of them. Solved what she could. Supported what she could. The atmosphere in the company started to come alive. But not everyone was happy. Larry was very unhappy. Maggie's new system had cut into his territory. Before, every decision in the company went through him. Now Maggie had bypassed him entirely. What angered him most was Maggie approving projects and funding directly with employees, bypassing him. Where did that leave him as VP? That afternoon, Larry knocked on Maggie's office door. "Ms. Walker, I'd like to talk to you about something." "Go ahead." "About Tony's project. I don't think it's a good fit. $10,000 isn't a small amount. And he's just an intern. Inexperienced. If it goes wrong. If it goes wrong, that's on me." Maggie looked up at him. "Larry, I know what you're worried about. But here's the thing. The company needs to transform. We can't keep going the way we've been going. New blood, new ideas. Even if there's risk, we have to take it. Ms. Walker, your point is well taken, but as VP I have to consider the company's interests. $10,000 in the trash. It's not in the trash. It's an investment." Maggie cut him off. "Larry, let me be straight with you. From now on, project approvals and funding allocations don't have to go through you. You focus on the day-to-day operations of the company. Project decisions, I'll handle directly with the relevant people." Larry's face changed instantly. "Ms. Walker, that's not appropriate. As VP, I should know about project decisions." "You'll know. After every decision is made, you'll get a copy." Maggie spoke evenly. "But the decision itself, you don't need to be involved." Larry stood there, his face cycling through colors. He'd thought he could pressure this kid CEO. Use his seniority and his position. He hadn't expected Maggie to clip his wings outright. "Ms. Walker, you're treating me like..." "Larry, don't get me wrong." Maggie stood up and walked over to him. "I'm not trying to push you out. I respect your contributions to the company. But this company needs a change. If you want to grow with the company, I welcome it. If you don't, I won't keep you." Larry stared at her. For a long time. Finally he spoke. "Ms. Walker, let me think about it." "Take your time." Maggie sat back down. Larry left the office, slamming the door. Maggie rubbed her temples and let out a breath. She knew there'd be more battles. But this one had to be fought. If you can't establish authority, no one will follow your lead. That night at dinner, Maggie told Eleanor about Larry. Eleanor put down her chopsticks. "That guy was originally a manager I had on my side, transferred over. Decent work. But he's got no character. The kind who'll bow when there's gain in it and stab when there's not. What do you think I should do? Watch him for a while. If he wakes up, keep him. If he doesn't, fire him. There's no shortage of capable people. But people with character are hard to find." Eleanor looked at her. "Margaret, running a company, the most important thing is people. The right people, you can move mountains. The wrong people, the company falls apart." "I'll remember." Maggie nodded. Beside her, Brenda was listening, her brow furrowed. "Margaret, your aunt got you this CEO position, but it's heavy. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't have a stroke from stress." "Mom, I'm fine. I can handle it." "Bree, don't worry. Margaret's smart. She's going to do well." Eleanor patted her sister's hand. "Look at her. She's only been on the job a few days and she's already handling herself like a pro. She's got this." Brenda smiled. "As long as she can handle it. As long as she doesn't push herself too hard." Watching the sisters, Maggie's heart was warm. It was the first time in a long time she'd felt this sense of family belonging. The next morning at the office, Maggie walked in and noticed something off. The whole place felt strange. Employees who'd usually greet her cheerfully were keeping their distance, their faces uncomfortable. What was going on? She went into her office. Pulled up her email. A long internal post. Subject, to all Vance creative employees. Author, Larry Chen. Maggie's face darkened. She opened the post. Larry had laid into her. Said Maggie was an inexperienced kid who'd parachuted in. Said the new system was reckless. Said the projects she'd approved were going to bring the company to its knees. He was calling on employees to see things clearly and not be fooled by Maggie's empty promises. Maggie read it 3 times. Her expression got darker each time. This Larry was going for broke. A direct challenge to authority. Larry, please come to my office. Maggie texted him. A few minutes later, Larry walked in. Casual. Defiant. You wanted to see me, Ms. Walker? You posted a notice. That's right. As VP, I have a duty to remind employees not to follow misguided decisions blindly. Larry's tone was hard. What if I told you to take it down? Ms. Walker, I have my own judgment. I won't take it down. Larry's chin came up. It's a free country. I have my freedom of speech. Maggie looked at him. This guy was deliberately picking a fight. He was waiting for Maggie to fire him so he could play the victim. Maggie thought about it. All right. You don't have to take it down. Effective immediately, you're suspended. Suspended? Larry froze. Ms. Walker, you have no right to suspend me. I'm an executive. The board has to vote. I do have the right. Maggie pulled out a piece of paper. This is a power of attorney from Ms. Vance. Signed this morning. It authorizes me to decide on the appointment and removal of any employee at this company, including senior management. Larry took the document. The color drained from his face. Eleanor's signature. The legal department's seal. There was no challenging this. Ms. Walker, this isn't fair. I'm just exercising freedom of speech. Larry, your freedom of speech is your business. But I have to consider the company's interests. Maggie stood up. You can take a week. Think about whether you want to keep working at the company. If you do, take down the post and send a public apology to all staff. If you don't, hand in your resignation. You can leave. Maggie said no more. Larry stood there. After a long pause, he walked out, slamming the door. Maggie sat down. Opened the company's internal site. She posted her own notice. The title was short. On yesterday's decisions, a word. The body was simple. She thanked employees for their concern. Affirmed the value of the new system. Stressed the company's resolve to reform. And she laid out the future direction in detail. Most importantly, she stated clearly that anyone with concerns or suggestions could come directly to her. She'd listen to every voice. But personal attacks under the guise of reminding the employees were not acceptable. The post went up. Employees who saw it started discussing it, but the tone was completely different from the morning. A lot of people started supporting Maggie. Ms. Walker is right. The company has to change. We can't keep going the way we have been. Yeah, the new system has problems, but at least it gives top performers a chance. Hey, I think Ms. Walker has guts. She came in and started fixing things instead of hiding from problems. Right. Larry's got way too much influence around here. About time someone took him down. The discussion went back and forth. As the day went on, the mood completely flipped. Employees who had been hesitant in the morning came one after another to find Maggie that afternoon. Some submitted innovation proposals. Some reported problems in the company. Some came right out and said they supported the new system. Maggie met with all of them. She listened to everyone. Took notes. Promised to look into things or to act. By close of business, her desk was piled with notebooks. But her heart was full. This was what she'd wanted. A vibrant company. With everyone heard. Not Larry's heavy hand, where everyone walked on eggshells. That night at dinner, Maggie told Eleanor about it. Eleanor laughed. Good move. You can't be soft in this kind of situation. A week to think it over is generous. If it were me, I'd have fired him on the spot. I just thought he might still have his uses. His use was scaring people. You scared everyone for him. He's used up. Eleanor took a sip of soup. But Margaret, what you did today was right. Posting that notice. People want to be heard. Especially the ones with ideas. Once you give them a chance, they pay you back. I'm learning. Don't worry. Take your time. Eleanor smiled at her. You're a quick study. You'll do well. Beside her, Brenda watched her daughter. Her eyes were full of pride. 3 days later, Larry came to Maggie's office. This time, his attitude was completely different. Apologetic. Almost ingratiating. Ms. Walker, I came to apologize. The post a few days ago. I was wrong. It was emotional. I've already taken it down. And I sent an apology to all staff. Maggie nodded. I checked. It's been taken down. Ms. Walker, please give me one more chance. I won't make this mistake again. I'll cooperate fully with your work and support you with everything I've got. Larry's head was practically against his chest. Maggie looked at him. She could tell Larry hadn't really seen the light. He'd just realized he couldn't go up against her and was acting humble out of necessity. Once he had the chance, he'd make a move again. But Maggie didn't expose it. All right. I'll give you another chance. From here on out, focus on operations. The work I've handed to other people, you don't get involved. Understood? Understood. Whatever you say goes, Ms. Walker. Larry nodded vigorously. Get to work then. Yes. Larry backed out. After he was gone, Maggie sighed. She didn't trust the guy. But for now, she wasn't going to fire him outright. Better to leave a card on the table than to push too hard. Time passed quickly. A month went by. The company's atmosphere changed completely. Before, employees clocked out the second the workday ended, packing up at 4:30 so they could leave at 5 sharp. Now there were people working overtime in the office every night. Not because they had to. Because they wanted to. Tony's project came together, ahead of schedule. It was called CubeAds. A small business advertising service platform. Modular pricing. Affordable. Fast turnaround. Day 1 of launch, they signed 23 small businesses. Day 3, 68. Within a week, over 200 clients. Tony's team worked round the clock to keep up. Maggie approved an emergency hire of 10 more people for the project, plus a budget bump. By the end of the first month, CubeAds had brought in over $400,000 in revenue. Hardly a fortune, but a huge boost in morale for a company that had been losing money. In Maggie's hands, Tony's project had gone from one nobody believed in to a star product. Other employees saw it and got their own ideas going. 2 more innovation projects launched in the second month. One was an event services platform. The other was a short-form video creative team. Both were doing well. The third month, the company turned its first profit. $300,000. Not a lot. But it was a milestone for a company that had been bleeding money for 2 years. When Eleanor heard the news, she came to the office personally to celebrate with everyone. In the conference room, she gave Maggie a thumbs up. Margaret, you've delivered. I knew you had it in you. Aunt Eleanor, it's all because you gave me the platform. And the team's been working hard. I just helped a little. Don't be modest. You did this. Eleanor turned to address the executives. Today is a big day for this company. I want to thank everyone for their hard work. Starting next month, the company implements profit sharing. 20% of the profits goes to the team. 20%? The room exploded. 20% of profits split among the team. That was huge money. And, the company will allocate 10% of its equity as a long-term incentive plan. Employees who meet certain criteria can buy in at a discount. Eleanor kept going. In other words, work hard, and the company is yours too. Make money for the company, make money for yourself. Applause filled the room. Everyone was excited. Maggie watched. Her own emotions ran high. She understood now why Eleanor had been able to build a $3 billion company from nothing. Because she got people. She knew how to motivate them. How to get them to do their best. That was real management. After the meeting, Eleanor pulled Maggie aside. Margaret, I have something to talk to you about. What is it, Aunt Eleanor? I want to bring you in on the parent company's affairs. Vance Holdings is too big. I'm getting older. I need someone to help me share the load. Maggie froze. Aunt Eleanor, I don't have the experience. Experience comes with doing. You've done a great job here. You can do bigger things. She looked at her. Of course, I'm not asking you to walk in and become a senior executive at headquarters. Start with a special project. Get familiar with the parent company's operations bit by bit. What special project? There's a problem at headquarters. I want you to look into it. If you can dig out the truth, you have a future at HQ. Eleanor's tone got serious. There's a financial vice president. His name is Marcus Whitaker. Been with me 10 years. I always trusted him. But recently I've been feeling off about him. What feels off? The cash flow on a few of our subsidiaries doesn't add up. I had internal audit check, and they found nothing. But my gut tells me there's something there. Eleanor looked at her. I want you to look into it from the outside. Don't tip him off. Understand? Maggie fell silent. This was a heavy responsibility. If Marcus really did have problems and Maggie could uncover it, that would be a big help to the parent company. If Marcus didn't have problems and Maggie investigated him on a hunch, that could create a lot of trouble. Aunt Eleanor, I'll try. She nodded. Don't worry about it. I'll cover the resources you need. There are some things only an outsider can see clearly. Eleanor patted her shoulder. Take care of this, and you really are one of us at Vance Holdings. For the next 2 weeks, Maggie split her attention. While running the agency, she started looking into Marcus quietly. She had Eleanor pull Marcus's basic information. Background, work history, financial status, all of it. On the surface, Marcus was clean. PhD from a top business school. 20 years in finance. CFO at a Fortune 500 company before joining Vance Holdings as VP of Finance 10 years ago. Wife was a college professor. Daughter studying overseas. Family was well off. But the more Maggie looked, the more uneasy she got. Marcus's spending didn't match his salary. He owned 3 high-end properties around town. Drove a Bentley. His daughter's tuition overseas was over $100,000 a year. Total assets had to be a couple million. Which would have been fine, except Marcus's salary at Vance Holdings was $800,000 a year. After tax, around $550,000. His wife was a college professor. Maybe $200,000 a year. That meant the family income was around $750,000 a year. Even setting aside everyday expenses, 10 years of savings should have been around $4 to $5 million max. But Marcus's assets totaled at least $8 to $10 million. Where had the extra come from? Maggie kept digging. She found Marcus had stakes in several companies. On the surface, totally legitimate. But she ran the names through. Most of those companies had business dealings with Vance Holdings subsidiaries. In other words, Marcus might be using his position to send Vance Holdings business to companies he had a stake in. Skimming kickbacks. Maggie's brow furrowed. If true, it was a major violation of the law. But she needed solid evidence. She kept digging. A few days later, she found another lead. Marcus's wife had a brother. Owned a small construction company. That construction company had taken a contract from Vance Holdings. $3 million to renovate a building. Maggie pulled the contract. She almost laughed. The market value of that renovation was at most $1.5 million. $3 million was double the market price. In other words, the brother-in-law had taken at least $1.5 million in extra profit. That money likely flowed back to Marcus. Maggie's expression turned grim. She found a few more leads like that. In total, she uncovered at least 8 problematic projects over the past 3 years. Total amount well over $15 million. If Marcus took even 30%, that was $4 to $5 million. Plus those ownership stakes and undisclosed income. Marcus had probably moved at least $7 or $8 million through the company. Maggie compiled all the information. Made an appointment to see Eleanor. In Eleanor's office. After Maggie presented the findings, Eleanor sat in silence. For a long time. Her face was dark. I knew it. I knew I had a feeling about him. She gritted her teeth. 10 years. 10 years of trust. He played me for 10 years. Aunt Eleanor, you'll need to get a professional team to lock down the evidence. What I have is just leads. We need solid proof to take this anywhere. Right. I'll get the legal department on it now. And get an outside accounting firm to come in for a full audit. Eleanor took a deep breath. Margaret, you've done well. Better than I expected. It was just a basic look. The real heavy lifting comes later. Don't be modest. You started cold, no information, and pieced this together in 2 weeks. A lot of professionals couldn't have done that. Eleanor looked at her. Pride in her eyes. Margaret, you really do have your aunt's instincts. Maggie smiled. Maybe it's in the genes. Eleanor laughed too. I think so. Now, your next assignment. Stay involved with this Marcus situation. With the legal team. From start to finish. Treat it as a learning experience. Once you're done, you'll know how Vance Holdings runs. Got it. Maggie nodded. For the next month, she commuted between the agency and headquarters. The agency was up and running, mostly running itself, only needing her at key decision points. So she put most of her energy into the Marcus investigation. The legal team and the auditors moved fast. A month later, all the evidence was in. Marcus had transferred over $50 million from Vance Holdings over the past 10 years through various means. Building hidden personal wealth. In addition, Marcus was sharing intelligence with competitors, leaking strategic decisions of Vance Holdings. That was even more serious than the financial fraud. Eleanor's hands shook reading the report. Not just from anger. But from disappointment. Marcus had been the longest-serving and most trusted of her senior executives. She'd treated him like family. Even his daughter studying overseas had been partly funded by Eleanor. In the end, he'd betrayed her. Bring him in. Eleanor's voice was cold. That afternoon, Marcus was called to the conference room. When he walked in and saw the law team, the auditors, the police, his face went pale. Eleanor, what is this? Marcus, sit down. Eleanor said evenly. Let me ask you a few questions. Marcus sat down stiffly. His eyes shifted around the room. When he saw Maggie, surprise flickered in his eyes. What was this woman CEO of the agency doing here? Eleanor pushed the report in front of him. Take a look. See if you have anything to say. Marcus picked it up. Opened it. His hands started trembling. His face went from pale to ashen. When he set the report down, sweat was beading on his forehead. Eleanor, this is a misunderstanding. I can explain. Misunderstanding? Eleanor looked at him. $52,800,000. How is that a misunderstanding? I borrowed it temporarily. I was going to pay it back. Do you take Vance Holdings for an ATM? Borrow when you want. Pay back when you want. Eleanor's voice rose. And selling out company secrets to the competition. How is that a misunderstanding? Marcus had nothing to say. He bowed his head. Like a deflating balloon. Marcus, 10 years. I trusted you. Treated you like family. I supported your daughter through her education. Why? Why did you do this to me? Eleanor's eyes turned red. Marcus didn't speak. The room was silent. Eventually, Marcus looked up. There was something defiant in his eyes. Eleanor, you ask me why? Then let me ask you. For all the work I've done for you over 10 years, what do I get? Just a salary? Are you kidding? I gave you $800,000 a year. Stock options. Bonuses. Year over year, what you took home from me was over $1.5 million. And I'm greedy? That's nothing. Without me, your company would be nothing. Marcus was shouting. Don't act like you're the great Eleanor Vance. Without me, you're just a country girl from West Virginia. Maggie's brow furrowed. This guy. He was raving. Marcus. Maggie spoke up. Watch your mouth. Aunt Eleanor's success has nothing to do with where she's from. And if you've done legitimate work for her, you've been compensated for it. The $50 million you stole, that was theft, not earnings. Marcus turned to look at her. You? Who are you to talk to me like that? Some country bumpkin who just walked in the door, you think you're somebody? Maggie laughed. Marcus, I might be a country bumpkin. But I haven't stolen. I haven't cheated. I haven't betrayed anyone who trusted me. Have you? Marcus's face cycled through colors. He opened his mouth but couldn't get a word out. All right, that's enough. Eleanor waved her hand. Marcus, the evidence is laid out. There's nothing to argue about. The police are here. They'll handle it from here on. The two officers stepped forward and put cuffs on Marcus. Eleanor. Eleanor, you'll regret this. I have proof too. I'll bring you down with me. Marcus shouted as he was being dragged out. Eleanor didn't even look at him. She just stared out the window. Her expression unreadable. After Marcus was taken away, the room was quiet. The legal team and auditors started cleaning up. Eleanor sat there. Not moving. Maggie walked over and poured her a glass of water. Aunt Eleanor, drink some water. Thanks. She took it. Took a sip. Margaret, you know, what I'm most disappointed about isn't him stealing the money. It's him losing his integrity. She looked out the window. When he came in 10 years ago, he was a young man with ideals. Said he wanted to make a difference. I trusted him. Promoted him. I gave him every opportunity one could give him. In 10 years, he became an executive vice president. He had it made. And in the end, he went down this road. What does power do to people? What does money do to people? Maggie didn't know how to answer. She just stood there, listening. Margaret. Eleanor turned to her. Promise me one thing. What is it? No matter how high you go in the future, no matter how much money you have, don't ever forget who you are. Don't ever forget where you came from. Don't ever betray people who trust you. Maggie nodded firmly. I promise. I won't. Good. Eleanor smiled. I trust you. You're my sister's daughter. You won't disappoint me. Marcus's case was wrapped up quickly. The investigation pulled in several others, both inside Vance Holdings and out. A series of arrests. Eleanor took the chance to do a major housecleaning. Replaced executives at headquarters. Replaced presidents at several subsidiaries. The whole group went through major upheaval. But after the dust settled, the company's atmosphere was completely different. Cleaner. More energized. Eleanor brought Maggie formally onto the management team. Made her assistant to the chairman, while keeping her role as CEO of Vance Creative. Maggie's life shifted into high gear. Days at the agency. Nights at headquarters. Meetings on weekends. She hardly slept. But she was happier than she'd ever been. For the first time in her life, she felt valued. Felt important. Felt like she was making a difference. Her mother had recovered well. After 3 months at Eleanor's house, with great food and care, she had filled out and grown stronger. Best of all, the sisters were as close as they'd been when they were kids. Every day they walked in the garden, did light cooking together, watched soaps together, laughed and cried together. Years lost. They were making them up. Then came that night. Maggie came home late. The light was still on in the dining room. Her mother and Eleanor were at the table. There was food on the table. Untouched. "Mom, Aunt Eleanor, why aren't you eating?" She hurried over. "We were waiting for you." Her mother smiled. "Aunt Eleanor said you've been so busy lately, you haven't eaten with us in days." "Tonight," she said, "no matter what, we were waiting until you got home." Maggie's eyes warmed. "Sorry, the meeting ran long." "Don't apologize. Sit, eat." Eleanor handed her a bowl. "I had Maria make the pot roast you like." Maggie sat down. The food was warm. Steam still rising. She picked up her chopsticks. The first bite, her eyes prickled. She hadn't sat down to a hot meal with family in too long. Or really, her whole life, she'd never had this. A father absent young. A mother working all hours to make ends meet. Most of her meals had been alone. A bun. A bowl of instant noodles. A meal like this, with family at the table, was a luxury she'd never imagined. "Eat slow. There's plenty." Her mother put a piece of meat in her bowl. "Eat more. You've gotten too thin lately." Eleanor put another piece in. The two women each piling food into her bowl. Her bowl filled up immediately. Maggie laughed. "You too, that's enough." "I can't eat that much." "You're so thin from working so hard, you have to eat more." "Yeah, you're underweight as it is, you can't lose any more." The two of them piled on more. Maggie couldn't say no. She ate it all. After dinner, Maggie sat on the couch and rubbed her stomach. "I'm so full. Walking would be hard." "That's better. You've been eating like a bird." Her mother laughed. Eleanor poured her a cup of tea. "Margaret, there's something I want to talk to you about." "What is it?" "You're getting on. You should think about your personal life." Maggie froze. "My personal life?" "Right. Have you thought about a boyfriend?" I haven't really thought about it." "How could you not think about it? You're already 26. By the time I was your age, your cousin was already 2. "Aunt Eleanor, I've been so busy with work. I haven't had time." "Work is one thing, personal life is another. You can't just have one." Eleanor looked at her. "Tell you what. I have some friends with sons around your age. I'll introduce you to a few. You can go meet them, see what you think." Maggie rushed to wave her off. "Aunt Eleanor, no, no, no. I really haven't thought about it. Don't introduce me to anyone. What's the harm in meeting them? If you don't like them, you don't have to date them." Beside her, her mother chimed in. "Margaret, listen to your aunt. Meet someone. We're getting older. We want to see you settled and have grandchildren." Maggie grimaced. "Mom, you're not even 60 yet." "What grandchildren? 60 isn't old? My friends already have grandchildren." I'm the only one who doesn't. All right, all right. Whatever you say. I'll meet them. I'll meet them. Maggie threw up her hands. The two women smiled, satisfied. Just then, Maggie's phone rang. Unknown number. She picked up. Maggie? A young man's voice. Sounded a little familiar. Who is this? It's me, Ashley. Maggie froze. Ashley. Her old coworker. The one who'd laughed alongside Brad. Who she'd long ago wiped from her contacts. What's up? She kept her voice cool. Maggie, are you free? I'd like to apologize to you in person. About what happened. I really regret it. Could you give me a chance? His voice was soft. There was an undertone in it. Maggie instantly understood what he meant. She almost laughed. She'd been working at the company for a year. Ashley had never noticed her. Never spoken to her on her own. Now that she was a billionaire's niece, suddenly he wanted to apologize? Ashley, no need. I've already forgotten. How could that be? Maggie, I really do feel terrible. Could we meet up? My treat. Ashley wasn't giving up. I'm busy. No time. How about this weekend? Just a coffee, half an hour. Please? Maggie was about to refuse again, but caught her mother and Eleanor watching. She covered the phone and looked at them. Coworker. Wants to apologize. Then meet her. The polite thing. Her mother said. Eleanor nodded. Right. If she has the heart to apologize, accept it. Maggie sighed and uncovered the phone. All right. Saturday afternoon. The bean house next to the office. Great. Thanks, Maggie. See you Saturday. Ashley sounded thrilled. She hung up. Maggie rolled her eyes and tossed the phone aside. Aunt Eleanor, you don't get it. This Ashley used to laugh at me with Brad. Now that she's seen me in a different light, she's coming over to schmooze me. Probably has an agenda. What agenda? Likely either wants me to help her find a job, or... Maggie paused. Or wants to date you? Her mother finished for her. Maggie nodded. The two women looked at each other and laughed. Either way, hear her out. Eleanor said. Why? 2 reasons. First, you came up the hard way. People like that have always existed. You'll meet plenty more. Learn how to handle them now and you'll have an easier time later. Second, this is a chance to test yourself. Will success change you? Will money cloud your judgment? When she comes flattering you, can you stay clear-headed? Eleanor patted her shoulder. It's a lesson. You should attend. Maggie nodded. Got it. Saturday afternoon. Maggie showed up at the bean house at the appointed time. Ashley was already there. He looked totally different. New suit, hair done, cologne on. Made up like he was going to a prom. Maggie walked over and sat down across from him. Hi. She was casual. Maggie. You came. Ashley jumped up. His eyes were lit up. What do you want to drink? My treat. Black coffee, no sugar, no milk. Sure. Ashley got up to order. Maggie watched his back, frowning. This Ashley had really done a 180. From the dismissive coworker he used to be, to this attentive man now. It was almost funny. Soon Ashley came back with the coffee. Here, your coffee. I got a latte. Thanks. Maggie took a sip. So what was it you wanted to talk about? Maggie, first I want to apologize to you. The way I used to treat you. I was wrong. I was young. I didn't know any better. I followed Brad's lead. I really regret it. Ashley's voice was soft. Earnest in his tone. Forget it. It's been a while. How could I forget? Maggie, you're really impressive. CEO at 26. I couldn't even imagine that. He came in with the flattery. Maggie just smiled. Didn't say anything. Maggie, after I left the company, things have been rough. I went a few months without a job. Even now I'm just at a small shop, terrible pay. Here it comes. The real reason. You're so capable. Could you help me out? Whether it's a job at your company or somewhere else, anything's fine. Ashley looked at her with pleading eyes. Ashley, my company's hiring rules are public. Apply through HR like everyone else. I can't make exceptions. Maggie, please. We were colleagues. We were colleagues. But that doesn't mean I have to help you get a job. Maggie took another sip. Plus, given how you treated me before, you really expect me to help you? Ashley's face went red. I'm sorry, Maggie. What can I do to make it up to you? Anything? He leaned in. His voice dropped. Anything. The implication was crystal clear. Maggie felt sick. She set down her cup, her expression cold. Ashley, I think we have nothing more to discuss. I'm leaving. She stood up. Maggie. Wait. Ashley grabbed her arm. Maggie, I really like you. I felt this way back at the company. I just didn't have the courage to say so. Liked me back at the company? Then why did you laugh at me with Brad? Maggie looked at him. Ashley, drop the act. You don't like me. You like Eleanor Vance's niece. You like my money, my position. Without these things, you'd never look at me twice. Ashley's expression changed. Maggie, that's not fair. I really do like you. Then forget I'm anyone's niece. Forget I'm a CEO. Forget I have any money. Picture me as just some woman. Would you like me? Ashley opened his mouth. He didn't say anything. The answer was obvious. Maggie pulled her arm back. Ashley, I wish you the best. Find a woman who really likes you. Don't waste your time on someone you don't actually love. She turned and left. Behind him, Ashley sank back into his chair. His face dark. Maggie walked out of the cafe and let out a long breath. She pulled out her phone and dialed Eleanor. Aunt Eleanor, I'm done. How did it go? Just like you said. He has an agenda. Wanted me to help him find a job. Tried to seduce me when I wouldn't. And? I rejected him and left. Eleanor laughed. Good. Lesson learned. Aunt Eleanor, the world really is something. People can be that two-faced. Of course. People are complicated. Whoever can see through it lives clearly. Whoever can't gets played the rest of their life. Eleanor's tone was meaningful. Margaret, what you have to learn now is to see who's worth trusting and who isn't. Don't let appearances fool you. Look at what people actually do. Look at what they did before they had something to gain from you. Got it. Come home. Mom made you stew. On my way. Maggie hung up. Smiled. Family. How nice it was to have family. Time slipped by fast. In the blink of an eye, half a year was gone. Maggie grew faster than anyone could have imagined. The agency was profitable across the board, profits up 400% year over year. It had become one of the city's leading creative shops. At Vance Holdings headquarters, Maggie was now a vice president, in charge of operations across multiple subsidiaries. Her name had become a presence at the company's executive table. A lot of old hands had been skeptical of this young VP, but as time went on, they discovered that Maggie's instincts and decisions were always on point. They started to respect her from the bottom up. Maggie's mother had recovered fully. She was even living a new life. Eleanor took her to the salon, the spa, on trips. The countrywoman who'd never seen the world started to bloom. She'd lost weight. Her color had come back. She dressed nicely. She looked at least 10 years younger. Most importantly, the sisters' bond was tighter than ever. Sometimes Maggie would come home and see her mother and aunt sitting in the garden, sipping tea, laughing. Like two carefree girls. That was the picture Maggie loved most. That weekend, the family was at dinner. Eleanor put down her chopsticks suddenly. Margaret, your mother, and I have been talking. We want to take a trip to West Virginia. Maggie froze. West Virginia? Yes. Back to our old hometown. McDowell County. Her mother's voice was soft. It's been 48 years. I want to go look. See what's still there. See what's changed. Maggie understood. This was more than a trip. This was the sisters going home. Going back to where they'd been separated, where they'd been split apart for so long. When? Next week. The doctor says my body's ready for the trip. Then I'll go with you. No, you have so much going on. Don't worry about us. Aunt Ellie and I, just the two of us, we'll be fine. Mom, I'm going. Work is work, but I'm going home with you. Maggie was emphatic. Aunt Eleanor came so far to find you. How could I not be there for this? Eleanor smiled. Then we'll all go. The three of us. The three of us. Her mother nodded. Her eyes shone. The next week, the three of them set out. A private jet to West Virginia. Then a car deep into McDowell County, into the hollers. The road was rough. A two-lane that wound through mountains, switchback after switchback. Some sections were under construction, with detours. The car bounced for nearly 2 hours before they got to the holler. The car stopped at the edge of the holler. The sisters got out. Her mother stood. Looked at the holler in front of her. 48 years. Some things had changed. Some things hadn't. The houses were no longer the rough cabins they'd been. They were proper homes now, some even brick. The dirt road they'd walked in their bare feet was paved now. But the mountains were the same. The creek was the same. The sky was the same. Her mother walked into the holler, her steps slow. Eleanor walked beside her, holding her hand. A few villagers came out of their homes when they saw the sisters. Curious looks. Who are y'all looking for? An older woman asked. Auntie, I'm Brenda Vance. Robert Vance's eldest. Do you remember me? Her mother's voice trembled. The older woman froze. Looked her up and down. Brenda? Bree? Robert's girl Bree? Yes. It's me. Her mother's tears came. The older woman froze for a few seconds. Then suddenly she shouted. Oh my lord. It's Bree. It's Robert's Bree. She's come back. She's come back. The shout stirred the whole holler. Villagers came out one after another. Some recognized her, some didn't. But everyone knew the story of the lost daughter 48 years ago. People surrounded the sisters. Everyone was talking at once. Bree, Bree. You're alive. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Where have you been? Why didn't you come back? And Ellie. Ellie, you were such a little thing. Y'all, where have you been all these years? The two sisters stood in the middle of the crowd, holding hands. The tears wouldn't stop. So many neighbors. So many old folks. There were faces they remembered. Faces they couldn't quite place. But every face brought back a piece of childhood. Maggie stood off to the side, watching. Her own eyes brimming. After a long while, the villagers calmed down. An old man came out of the crowd. He had a hard time walking, leaning on a cane. When he saw the sisters, his eyes welled up. Bree, Ellie, you're back. Uncle Eli. Her mother recognized him. She walked over and grabbed the old man's hand. Uncle Eli, you're still here. Still here. Just barely. 87 this year. 2 more years and I'd have missed you. The old man wiped his eyes. Your mama and daddy passed years ago. They wanted to see y'all to the very end. They left with their eyes open. The sisters fell silent. Tears in their eyes. 48 years. Their parents had waited for them their whole lives. Until they died, they hadn't seen them again. Uncle Eli, where are Mama and Daddy buried? Take us to see them. Her mother said softly. All right. I'll take you. The old man led the way. The sisters and Maggie followed. The villagers respectfully kept their distance. The road wound into the hills. Through the woods. Up the slope. To the gravesite. 2 simple gravestones. Side by side. Robert Vance. Mary Vance. The dates of birth and death. Her mother knelt down. Eleanor knelt down. The sisters touched the stones. Tears flowed in silence. Daddy, Mama. We're back. Her mother said softly. Bree's back. Ellie's back. We're sorry. We came too late. Bree got taken back then. It wasn't her fault. Don't blame her. Ellie's done well. She's a CEO now. With a lot of money. She's got me. Mama, Daddy, you can rest easy. The sisters knelt before the graves. Telling all the things that had happened in the 48 years. The hardships. The longing. The pain. It all poured out. Maggie stood off to the side, looking at the gravestones. Her eyes were wet. These were her grandparents. The grandparents she'd never met. If the gala hadn't happened, she'd never have known she had grandparents in this world. She stepped forward and knelt. Grandpa, Grandma. Your granddaughter Margaret came to see you. She cowed out 3 times. Forehead to the dirt. The sisters looked at her. Eyes red. After a long while, the 3 of them stood. Eleanor took out a piece of paper. Bree, I had a man build a real headstone. Marble. With our family genealogy on it. Replace these old stones. Her mother nodded. Good. Daddy and Mama deserve it. Going back to the holler, they invited the whole village to a meal. In the village rec hall. 20 tables of food. Every household came. Eleanor stood up. Glass in hand. Today we, sisters, are home. Thank you all for taking care of our parents in their later years. Thank you for not forgetting us. Tomorrow, we'll be donating $10 million to fund the construction of a school in the holler. So the kids in our holler can go to good schools and never want for anything again. The whole hall stirred. 10 million? My God. Ellie, Bree, that's too much. It's not too much. We grew up in this holler. Now that we have a way, we want to do something for the holler. Her mother spoke up. Whatever else needs doing around here, just say it. As long as we can manage it, we'll do it. The villagers were too overcome to speak. Some old folks started to cry. This was the first time the holler had ever had its own people give back like this. That night, they stayed in the holler. The sisters slept in their old room. Maggie slept in the next room. She was bone tired. But she couldn't sleep. She listened to the nighttime sounds of the holler. Crickets, frogs, a gentle breeze. So peaceful. So far from the city. She thought of her life. Thought of her mother's life. Thought of her aunt's life. So many twists and turns. So many tears. So many surprises. In the end, here they were. Back home. Maybe. Life was always like that. Wandering far. Just to come home. The next morning, the sisters were up early. They walked through the holler. Visited every familiar place. The big oak tree at the edge. The creek where they'd played. The schoolhouse where they'd gone. Every place held memories. The sisters walked. Talked. Laughed. Cried. Maggie followed silently, letting them have this time. At noon, they ate at Uncle Eli's. The old man's son and daughter-in-law went all out, made a big country meal. The food was simple, but homey. The sisters ate a lot. They said it was the best meal they'd had in years. After eating, they took their leave. The whole village came to send them off. The car started. Her mother and Eleanor turned to look out the back window. Watching the holler that had given them birth and raised them. Watching the people who'd kept them in their hearts for 48 years. Tears slipped down quietly. But this time, the tears weren't bitter. The tears were warm. Going home. They were finally able to go home. A year later. Vance Holdings' annual gala. A different ballroom. A different feel. Maggie stood at the head table. In a custom suit. Confident. She had become a true vice president of the parent company. In charge of multiple core businesses. The agency had been spun out as an independent listed subsidiary, market cap over $500 million. Maggie looked across the room at all the company's employees and partners. She raised her glass. My friends, welcome to this year's Vance Holdings annual gala. The applause was thunderous. Maggie smiled. She thought of last year, at this same time. She'd been a nobody. Bullied. Ridiculed. It had been "Y'all have a real blessed evening" that had changed her life. Out in the audience, her mother and Eleanor sat side by side. Watching her. Her mother had on a brand new dress. Hair styled. Looking radiant. Her aunt was as graceful and commanding as ever. The sisters' eyes were full of pride. Maggie raised her glass. This past year. To everyone who's worked with me. To everyone who's been with me. To everyone who's believed in me. I'm grateful. In the year ahead, let's keep going. She paused. A smile. And I'd like to say, to all of you here, all of you, please. She took a deep breath. Y'all have a real blessed evening. The accent was the same as it had been a year ago. Pure Kentucky. Thick as molasses. But this time, no one laughed. Everyone stood up. The applause was thunderous. Her mother and Eleanor were applauding the loudest. The sisters' eyes were full of tears. But this time, the tears were of joy. Maggie looked at them. Her own eyes were wet. She understood now. What had really changed her fate wasn't that one phrase. It was the love her mother had given her, all those years. It was the unwavering search her aunt had carried out for 48 years. It was the family bond, never severed by blood. It was that line in her blood. The thing that made her a Vance.